Hey guys, welcome to another favorites and hate-its. We are doing this again, but with everything Revlon, which there is so much from Revlon that I don't like. I actually don't talk about the brand a ton on my channel. I mean, there are some hit items that I am absolutely obsessed with, and we're going to talk about which ones I think that, you would not be disappointed with, and the other items that I think maybe might not work out, and I'll explain why. So I have everything from lips to cheeks to foundation to eyes to really the full rundown. We're gonna get started, settle on in, and let's go through this bin of Revlon products. I don't think Revlon has ever made the cut in like a top 5 foundation video. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say I personally am not the biggest fan of Revlon foundation. I know that a ton of people love the Colorstay. In fact, my own sister, Erica, she swears by it. She loves it. For me, it's a little bit too heavy. It ends up looking cakey. And if I use it consistently over time, it clogs my pores, which leads to a bunch of breakouts. So I've always kind of veered the opposite direction. Not the biggest fan of Colorstay. I think a more comparable one for me that works is the Milani Conceal and Perfect. And that's another one that people are going to be kind of picky with as well. We all have to look for a formula that works for us, that ultimately doesn't feel too sticky, heavy, cakey, and wears a long time and gives you full coverage if that's what you're after. Yeah, but the Colorstay for me just never worked out. They also have a range called PhotoReady. I have tried that foundation, not a fan. They have a whipped foundation. It's kind of so-so. It's one of those things where you're like, yeah, this is pretty good, but do I reach for it consistently? No. To me, with the amount of makeup that I have access to, if I'm reaching for something over and over and over, then I know that it's something I will really be comfortable recommending. And if I try something and I just kind of like it, but never reach for it again, it's not something that I'm going to showcase on my channel. So that's kind of the feeling that I've had with Revlon foundations in general. They're not awful. They're just nothing that really speaks to me or gets me really excited or makes me feel like I'm consistently going to have a great skin day. So let's just start with that. They did also recently launch these duos, the Revlon PhotoReady Instafix Contour and Highlighting Duo. Now, these are supposed to sculpt and highlight, but really it is just the PhotoReady stick foundation, which is kind of strange because I guess you could get like a step darker and do contour with it, but to me, I'm like, hey, that's foundation. It's not cream contour with a highlighting stick, and I didn't really like the highlighting stick. Some people like the foundation stick that's in here. I'm not one of them, so this whole duo was just like a big giant mess to me. My mission is to recommend to you guys drugstore foundations, or not even just foundation, but drugstore products in general that work as well as the higher end counterparts. So this is something I don't really like. I find it kind of waxy. I don't feel that it's very buildable. I feel that a lot of drugstore stick foundations really exaggerate fine lines and pores. When it glides right on top of the skin and you have an issue blending it, it can create a big mess. So these for me are a pass as the set, and then individually the stick foundation, which they do sell separately, is also a pass. Something that I do really love that I have been reaching for a lot, especially for touch-ups throughout the day when I don't just want a mattifying powder, but I want something to kind of bring my makeup back to life. I want something for blush to layer on top of if I don't want to redo my makeup going into evening and I'm going out and I want to kind of freshen things up. This Revlon Colorstay powder is awesome. It does not look cakey. It does not overly mattify the skin. It just kind of gives you a clean slate to work with. And as far as setting foundation, it does a really nice job as well. But keep in mind, these do have pigment to them. They are not translucent. So it can shift the look of your foundation. Not that that's a horrible thing, but something to keep in mind. I generally like to set my foundation with something translucent, and then I will touch up with something colored. I know that's like, let me be more high maintenance. That's just how I like to do my makeup. Not everybody has to go to that extreme, but if you want to keep something on hand like this that has a little bit of color to it, that's longer wearing, that isn't really mattifying or radiant, it's just kind of a natural finish, this is a fabulous, fabulous powder, and it is very long wearing. You will look in the mirror and you'll be like, hey, it's still working, it's still doing its job. Another product that I absolutely love for just even natural days, or to recommend to people with dry skin that don't want to exaggerate texture, but you still want that beautiful highlight to your skin, this is incredible. This is something that I think is often overlooked because you really have to go down to the bottom row of Revlon and like dig for it. This used to be on a newer display. I can't remember when it launched, but I got this a long time ago. And this is called Bronze Glow. Now you can use this all together as a little bit of a blush or a blush topper, but I really like focusing on these two shades up top, kind of like you would the Bobbi Brown shimmer strips, except for this is not as metallic or shimmery. It's more of a glow. It's like a diffused candlelit glow. I'm wearing it right now. It applies beautifully. It is something, again, that you can top on a full face of makeup, or if you're wearing nothing at all. It doesn't look too chunky or metallic. You can get away with just kind of adding this nice angelic glow to your skin. It still looks very pretty, not overdone. I prefer the Bronze Glow to the Rose Glow. That's just me. This one is more of a blush in my opinion. This will give you that nice, beautiful lit from within highlight. And then we have Revlon blushes, which are not my first pick. They take a while to build up. They do wear a decent amount of time, but it feels like you are building and building and building, and they're just something that I do not go for a ton because I just don't have time for that. I feel like I want a little more pigment in my blush. A similar thing would be the Almay Smart shade, but that one picks up color a little bit faster. I like calling that one from Almay the beginner blusher's dream come true because you can't screw it up. This one is the same thing. So if you're a beginner, you might enjoy, putting on blush with something like this that's very forgiving. You cannot screw this up. You can't make it look patchy, but it does take a while to build up and it feels like you're applying a lot of product. So you might also like this if you want something very, very subtle. I have the shade Oh Baby Pink, which is very frosty. I also have the shade Racy Rose. There's a little more pigment to this one, not much. Again, it's one of these things that you have to kind of build and build and build. And the texture of the blush itself is very, very stiff. So these are not my favorites. Let's take a peek at a few of the Colorstay quads. I feel like the formula used to be so much better on these. I don't know what happened. They are way stiffer now. They are super patchy. I don't like them at all. It's funny because I used a purple Colorstay quad in my $20 makeup challenge, which I filmed a billion years ago, but that one used to be a favorite of mine that I would use over and over and over. I feel like throughout the years, they must have changed labs, or I don't know what they changed about it. They used to be incredible when they first launched. They were smooth, they were impressive, they were long wearing. Now the formula is just kind of like NYC New York color powdery. Like, it is not cute. So that's just one swatch across. No. Do you see that? It's just not giving me much of anything to work with. And they're all frosty. I don't like the color selection. So the quad that I just swatched is called Moonlit, and then I have Decadent. And it's just so funny to me that these used to be like my absolute favorite drugstore eyeshadow formula, and now I just can't even, I can't. They're just not very good at all. So you can see like that top shade, you can't even really see it. This one right here is very patchy. I don't know if that is showing up on camera or not, but when you go to blend it out, it's just kind of patchy. So, meh. I do want to say, if you're going to go for Revlon shadows altogether, like you're on a mission, you're like, I want Revlon eyeshadows. I don't care. That's just what I want. I would go for these palettes. They do still have these available online. I don't see them at drugstores everywhere in the permanent display, but I do know that Ulta.com carries this. And these are pretty good. This is the Not Just Nudes. You get a lot of color in here. I feel like the formula is a lot better. It's just not, it's a little bit creamier. Not great. I mean, it's not my favorite in the world, but it is a little more intense than what you get with the Colorstay. And just by the touch, the Colorstay is much more stiff. The ones in the palette are much more smooth, and you have a little more of an opportunity to blend them out. They just look prettier. So I have done tons of looks with the palettes. I actually did a first impressions using those. I will link that one below. I kind of had the same medium, meh, it's not great, it's not horrible. It's nothing that I donated or got rid of. I kept them on hand, but they're not something that I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best at the drugstore. I think in my mind, one of the really good palettes at the drugstore is from Milani. CoverGirl also obviously has a great affordable palette that is really smooth. Revlon mascaras, nothing I get too excited about. I used to love their mascaras. They had a Grow Luscious, they had the Lash Potion. I don't really know what happened with their mascara launch this time. They had a big, huge launch where it was like mascara for everyone, and the tops of the tube are all different colors. This is the all-in-one. I wanted to try the all-in-one mascara. This was actually part of the first impression. I didn't like it. I still don't like it. I don't like how small the wand is and it's rubberized. It's just kind of hard to work with. I have a ton of drugstore mascaras that I love. Again, I did a rundown of my favorites and hate-its as far as mascaras recently. I think I covered like 30 different formulas. I'll link that video below if you need a recommendation for drugstore mascara. Revlon right now is just not getting it done. I feel like I'm being really, really hard on the brand, but I am just telling you guys how I feel right now. So now that I have been like Debbie Downer on a ton of products, let's talk about some good stuff. This right here is so great. It's so, oh my gosh, overlooked. I can't believe more people do not talk about this primer. I just recently got into this. This is the PhotoReady Eye Primer and Brightener. And what I like about this is it doesn't cancel out all of your veins or completely make everything opaque on the lid, but it does give you some kind of brightness that evens the whole like look of your eyelid out. So what I like to do is snap this guy up a little bit. I brush it on the lid and then I use my finger to kind of pat the product around, and it really, really helps your eyeshadows go on so smooth. This is my new favorite eyeshadow primer. I have been hooked on it. And I had to tell you guys that this is like AA+. Love so much. And I also like that it's in a brush like this, because if you want to do makeup underneath the lower lash line, you can very easily get in there and then smudge it out. Let's talk about lips for a moment. These are something that I absolutely adore. Well, two of them are. One of them, the formula is a little but these two right here, oh my gosh, they're so good. This is the Revlon Ultra HD Matte Lip Color. This is the shade Seduction, and I'm wearing it right now. Let's do a little touch up. They do not dry down completely matte. Do not think that you are getting a liquid lipstick that is going to dry down entirely matte. That's not the case with these, but I still love them, and this color is so gorgeous. It's a really flattering nude. This one right here is also totally beautiful. It is called Devotion. And then the red one, I just had a hard time with. I did a first impressions or a hot or not on this a long time ago. It got a ton of views actually. I'll link that one below as well. I'm gonna try and link as many Revlon corresponding videos as I can. This one is the shade Love, and I don't like it. For this launch, something that I noticed is that there are inconsistencies with each color, but these two right here, if you're a fan of pinky nudes, these are must-haves. They're gorgeous. I actually wear these quite often, and I love them. I still keep two of these on hand, and if I'm doing a no makeup day or something that I feel calls for kind of a stain on my lips and not like the full lined gloss lipstick type of a deal, I love these. I think they're great. This is the Colorstay Moisture Stain. It does leave behind a really pretty stain, but it has a high shine initially. It's a gel formula. The applicator on here is so nice. It reminds me a lot of the YSL lip stains. And you can see it's very faint, but this is just like on the way to the gym, no makeup day, fuss-free Sunday. I want to wear a little bit of something on my face, but I don't want to look like I'm wearing a ton of makeup. This is the perfect lip product that's more than just a balm. It has a nice gloss to it, but as it wears off, it does leave just a little bit of color, which can really just freshen up and brighten up your face. And you can go the very neutral route like this with London Posh, or you can do something like this, Barcelona Nights. This immediately is going to give you like a ton of color, but again, once that color wears off, it's going to just leave behind this juicy stain that is really even and beautiful. They have a ton of shades to choose from, so I really think there's something for everyone. I love the packaging, I love the doe foot applicator. Everything about this one I think is great. Then we have two of these jumbo lip balms. One is matte, one is glossy. Again, I did a video a while back, I think 2 years, 3 years maybe, on this launch when it happened. And I ended up holding on to a few of them. I really love the shade Elusive. This is just a very pretty, even, look at that pigmentation, just even toned pink. You put these on in one swipe, you know, you have that point right there because it is a chubby pencil. You don't have to deal with a lip liner. It is very fast makeup. It's matte, but it's very moisturizing. There's nothing that's going to dry your lips out about this product. Tons of colors to choose from. I think they're phenomenal. The glossy ones are pretty good as well. I think I prefer the matte if I had to choose between the two of them, but same story, really hydrating, easy to apply, effortless on-the-go makeup, great for touch-ups, and the glossier one I actually like to put on the cheeks as a blusher sometimes. If you're in a pinch and you need something to kind of perk up your look and you only have a few items rolling around in your purse, this is one of those like multitaskers. That's kind of a little life hack that I like. I've even been known to put it on my eyelids. So having a good glossy balm is a great thing to just keep in your collection. And then there were these. I'm really not even going to go in detail on these products right here because they're horrible. They smell bad, they taste weird, they feel chemically, they're not even, they're patchy, they're drying. I do not like these whatsoever. They almost crumble off of the lips. This is the Colorstay Ultimate Suede. Sounds like a great idea. You're like, ooh, suede. It's kind of like a maybe moisturizing matte lipstick, but these are some of the worst lipsticks at the drugstore, just in my opinion. I've always had a hard time with them. I love the bottle, it's very eye-catching to me, and even now when I'm shopping in the drugstore, I'm like, ooh, that's really cool. But then I've repurchased it, I'll go home and try it, and I'm like, oh my God, horrible, why would I do this to myself? It's really just kind of a big miss. If you want lipstick from Revlon, just go with the classics. My favorites are the cream finishes. I personally don't like their pearl finishes. That might just be me, but their cream finishes, oh my God. I mean, it's just like the most perfect lipstick from the drugstore that you will ever find. They apply beautifully. Look at that one. That's one of my longtime loves. This is Black Cherry. It's so fabulous. This one right here, just immediately, it gives no tug. It is really even. It has a nice slip to it. They're very long wearing. It does not bleed outside of the lip line. It's just a really well done, gorgeous, standard lip product. If you're looking for a specific cream lip color, the other thing that I like is they divide it out by plums, browns, pinks. So it's really easy to go to the store and kind of look at the display and figure out what you want. There are so many of them that I absolutely adore. I have held on to plenty of my Revlon lipsticks and I still reach for them all the time. Even though I have a big lipstick collection, these are still some of my absolute favorites, and I would say that they go toe-to-toe with Maybelline. Those are the two lipsticks from the drugstore that are my absolute favorites. Really quickly, I will touch on their lip pencils because I think a lot of people are curious about them. I personally am not a huge fan. They're a twist-up lip pencil, and my issue with these, it's great if you can get it to apply. It's pretty on the lips, but they break. So I've always had the issue of this tip being really dry and flimsy and breaking off, and even having that bit drop on your carpet and smear everywhere. I think one of the better automatic lip pencils at the drugstore that's even less expensive is from Rimmel. This one to me is just a pass. And then they did redo their formula on their lip glosses. The old packaging, the square, used to be my absolute diehard favorite. This new formula, I think they're still calling it the same thing. Yeah, the Super Lustrous lip glosses. It's different. It's a little bit thinner. It's very light on the lips. You might enjoy that. I personally, I wish it was back to the more gel, thicker consistency that they used to have. I loved the old formula. This one is nice, but it's nothing that's making me go, ooh, ah. And it does wear off pretty quickly, so I'm never really thrilled looking at the lip gloss display. Maybe that's just me, but yeah, so but I wanted to include some of them because I knew everybody would be like, what about the gloss? The gloss is good, it's just a gloss, it's nothing that's high on the hit list. And last but not least, I actually repurchased this item so that I could relive the nightmare. I don't know why I did that, but doing this video, I was at Target and I was like, you know what? I need to pick up a few odds and ends to kind of round out this video. I haven't tried this product in years. Maybe I was crazy back then, but guess what? This product is still awful. So this is the Revlon Colorstay Overtime. I just think that any of the drugstore Colorstay, long wearing, the duo kind of a thing that is going to be kiss proof. You can sip on your water and no lipstick is going to come off of it. That's cool. But what's not cool is when it starts crumbling all over your chin from you smiling or moving your mouth around, and then the next day your lips literally look like a prune because they are so dried out. I feel like the ingredients on those Colorstay lip products, just in general, whether it's Revlon or another brand, just suck the living life out of your mouth, and it's not worth it at all. I think that liquid lipsticks, you know, new ones from Kat Von D, from Ofra, you know, different brands that make like the liquid that dries down matte, those would be a better option for something that's not necessarily going to transfer everywhere, but won't crumble off your mouth and won't completely just like ruin your lips. So those are my favorites and hate-its from Revlon from A to Z. I feel like I covered a ton, and I'm really enjoying this series and doing it, you know, whether it's every week or I continue doing it every couple of weeks. You guys let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments what you want to see next. If you want to see, you know, another drugstore line, or if you want to see something really rounded out from the department store, I'm happy to do that too. So leave your requests below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Mwah.